Hi friends, welcome to our mini semester of Spark Nature, Winter Builders. For the next 4 weeks, we'll be using our hands to build directly on the land, learning through real work and creativity. First up, the lean-to. Our goals today were to saw branches from donated Christmas trees and use them to weave a sturdy wall of evergreens. We also used the trunks and, working with knots, tied together a wall of windows. For art, we brought the same building principles to a smaller scale, creating mini lean-tos inspired by our larger structure. To begin the day, the kids carried the trees into the cove and jumped right into work.
We have 8 saws with pairs. We'll pair up with those. We also want to start a fire, so if you don't want to use a saw right away or you're waiting your turn.
Sawing team, fire team?
Well, if fire team can break up small dead branches that I brought over, and you can also look around. If the branch easily breaks, that's good for fire. Also,
dry.
We want to keep the snow off it, because what is snow made out of? Water.
The kids naturally split into 2 groups, those gathering sticks to build the fire and those eager to saw. For the sawing crew, each child took turns carefully cutting branches, creating growing piles of fragrant evergreens. This work reflects our core pillar of our program, children gaining real-life confidence and confidence by using real tools for meaningful work. Everyone dropped into flow state, seamlessly working together, each child participating, contributing, and supporting the group. Once the fire was going, we paused for snack and free play, then gathered again for part 2, building the walls.
Sit for a second around the fire. We're gonna get started working on our lean-to structure. You guys did such an amazing job taking the branches off the Christmas trees. We got our little fire started to keep us cozy warm here. Mr. Sebastian already lined up some of the branches over here for us. So we're gonna work on tying some knots along this side to close off our structure. And then while other people are tying knots, we're gonna take all those branches you guys took off earlier and we're gonna weave them into the existing structure to make it kind of keep the snow and other wind and elements out so we have a spot to gather. So we're gonna split up into 2 teams. One team's gonna bring all the branches over and work on weaving. Mr. Sebastian or I will help you with that. And then on the other side, we're gonna work on tying some knots. We're gonna work on our clove hitch. Pretty simple one, but we're gonna work on it. It's used for tying tightly to a stick and it doesn't want to let go. And then we're going to work on doing something called a lashing. And that just means we're going to wrap over and under and over and under around the stick to tie them together to make a strong right angle. Does anyone know what a right angle is? Okay, let's take your hand, your left hand, so we know it's our left. It makes an L. If you got mittens on, it still works. Even if you have mittens, use your left hand, make an L. See how that makes an L? And that's a right angle. See how it's like a square, a corner. So we're going to make a bunch of squares together as a grid to make a strong structure. We're going to use a clove hitch to tie the rope to the stick, and then we're going to go over and under around the stick to make it. But we're really going to focus on keeping that square because squares are strong, right?
The kids were buzzing with excitement as they got to work, carrying armfuls of branches and taking turns weaving them together. Within minutes, walls began to take shape, creating a warm, cozy space inside. Even with 5 trees, we quickly realized it wasn't enough to finish the walls, making it clear this would be an ongoing project for the weeks ahead. Next, we brought over larger branches, and Mr. Adam and Mr. Sebastian worked alongside the kids, teaching knot tying as they created a side wall of windows that lets the light in while blocking the wind.
Now you're just going to take this. You're gonna weave this over, around, and up. And then each time you do it, you're gonna make sure it's strong. You go over and like that. And the closer we have it next to this is the better. So can you finish that up and I'll start the next one.
Once the main work was complete, several of the girls turned their attention to decorating the inside of the lean-to, creating a stone fire pit and a small table set with a nature-inspired meal. At the same time, other children climbed trees and invented new games, while still others grabbed sleds and took joyful runs down the hill. The land was alive with creativity, movement, and play, each child following their own unique curiosity. Then it was time for art.
Our lean-to structure is that little house made out of Christmas trees and branches and twine and all the pine leaves. But what we're gonna do is take that same exact idea and just shrink ray. I made a tiny one, right? I made this last night in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, using branches thin branches that I broke of various lengths. If you want to make a teepee structure like this is what you're going to need to do. You're going to need to 1, 2, 3, 4. Once it stands up, then we're going to have hot glue stations. Okay, these are going to get warm. Hot glue stations are going to be on to just hot glue the sticks to your cardboard so it doesn't move around. Once it stays there, then what you're going to do is you're going to take your nice pine needles and we're going to, kind of what we just did before, weave them through. Kind of like making an outer wall of green. Does that make sense?
The kids truly loved this project, working with raw materials and creating their own miniature versions. We love seeing them so alive with focus and engagement, problem solving, turn taking, sharing, and expressing themselves in their own ways. As always, no two pieces were alike, different shapes and style, each one completely its own, and all so cool. Check out a few of our finished creations. Here are some reflections from a day well spent.
And just like that, we're back. I'm so pumped to start the winter semester. You know, the idea of being outside throughout all the seasons, there's so much to show kids about being in the winter. It's amazing to see how kids react to being in the elements when they're dressed warm, key factor, and showing them what they can build when they work together as a team. Amazing day building our big lean-tos and then shrink graying down to our small ones.
Wow, what a wonderful way to kick off Winter Spark Nature program. Building some lean-tos outside in the winter here. We're lucky enough we have families that had some real Christmas trees. We were able to chop them up. I mean, the children they were very advanced with their saws, cutting, using all different materials around them. We got to use some knots too, tying things together, and just the creativity. They made it into their own little homestead, building a fireplace and a little altar in there. It was just really a special time outside. Got to build a little fire. They were foraging out in the woods and just using nature as their playground and palette, so it was great.
Today was such a fun day. I am so grateful to be back for our winter semester. It's only 4 weeks and we have a lot to do, and today we jumped right in with the lean-to structure. Luckily we had an existing structure from last semester, but it was really fun to build off of that. And to be honest, we didn't have enough Christmas trees, even though I thought 5 was enough. So we're gonna continue to work on that for the remaining 3 weeks. And I loved how we started big and then ended with each child creating their own miniature version, talking about what makes a shelter solid. Being protected from the elements, being protected from animals, and having a safe and warm, cozy spot to enjoy. So it was so much fun, and the kids had a blast sledding and running and playing. So awesome start to this next semester. That's a wrap for week 1 of Winter Builders, off to a fantastic start. I'm so excited to see the finished lean-to in the weeks ahead and watch how it becomes a favorite play space for the children. As always, collaboration, participation, focus, engagement, and joy were the heart of today. A job well done by all. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Help us to spread the spark. And remember, get yourself and your kids outside.